Hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Video Store Clerks Podcast.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. The store. Let's introduce you to the stars of the show. Adorable, aren't they?
What the hell was that, yo?
Scary shit.
Oh, shit. Hello, everyone. This is episode 90, and we are still trapped in the video store. But
90.
That means it's time for the Video Store Clerks Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you as always. We are your clerks for the evening. I'm Dave.
Chapman. Mike!
And, of course, you might notice that Mr. Nasty won't be with us tonight. He had some previous engagements, but he'll be back with us as soon as possible. So, hey, let's make this show extra nasty. As tonight, in case you haven't noticed, we will be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, yes, the new one.
The only one.
Oh, wait. There he is. He's here in spirit.
There's the man.
There's the man with the plan. And we will also have our clip of the week, our usual shenanigans, but we will start the program as we always do with
The news.
the news.
Hey, it's the news for all you dumb shits. If you don't like it, tough shit. Go to hell.
The three victims were part of a CXS.
Fuck her right in the pussy.
Oh my goodness. And
Up to his old shenanigans.
I was not ready for that.
All right, my God, the news. I don't even know where to start because, as usual, the day after our broadcast, all the shit goes down, and that's what happened again last week. But I guess we'll start with the box office. Well, why you got to ruin it for everybody? The box office results this week. Number one was The Marvels. Good and bad news situation there, as of course the Marvels came in at number one this past weekend. The bad news is I brought in $47 million. I actually had to double check that because that's extremely ridiculously low for a Marvel movie. I mean,
It's because nobody cares anymore.
yeah, I remember back in the day, man. I think the Thursday night previews made more money than that.
Nobody cares.
But
Everybody's burnt out on these comic book films, man.
Comic book films are the new zombie movies.
But they're not burnt out on video game movies, which we'll talk about soon enough.
oh, in fact, because coming in at number two was Five Nights at Freddy's, which brought in another $9 million, bringing the total up to $128 million. Again, pretty impressive, seeing as it's streaming on Peacock as well. So, hey, more power to them. I think
Even
that's
more,
great.
even more than that, I think. I don't know. We'll talk about it here in a few.
All right, yeah. T Swift came in at number three.
Oh, what's up, Swifty?
A lot of these other movies I never even heard of. Did you know they made a Priscilla movie?
Yeah. Little
Yeah,
biopic on
I
Priscilla
didn't know that.
Presley.
It's his
I'm over here now.
Yeah, third weekend. I believe Francis Ford Coppola's daughter actually did it.
Sophia Coppola.
Sophia Coppola. So that's cool. Killers of the Flower Moon, number 5. I got a feeling people are just waiting for that to come out on streaming.
Probably. They don't want to sit in the theater for 3.5 hours.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know I am. Rounding it out, a movie called The Holdovers came in at number 6. And wow, that's weird. Its total is 4.6 million. And this past weekend, it made 3.2 million.
There you go.
That's a little weird.
Weird.
And we can thank the churchgoers because a movie called Journey to Bethlehem came in at number 7.
Amen.
A film called Tiger 3 came in number 8. A movie called Radical came in at number 9. And number 10, Paw Patrol.
Rough.
So finally, the Exorcist movie has left the top 10.
The Exorcist has left the building.
It has left the
Finally.
building.
It'll be free on Stars in like a week.
Oh, but the biggest news, of course, is the actor strike has ended.
Thank God. I could put down my picket sign.
God damn. Been holding that. When was that? Like July?
It's been a minute.
That started. So
It's been a while.
I believe one of the biggest holdups was the AI controversy. Good. It sucks.
I think he was talking. I think that was in reference to The Exorcist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably.
Not the strike.
Okay.
Or maybe the strike too. I don't know.
It's combo.
So it's good. We finally got that straightened out. In other news, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been approached by every political party that there is about running for president of the United States. The crazy thing is, if he ran, he would win.
He would win for sure.
I 100% guarantee it. As far as the actor strike finally getting cleared up goes, that means everybody goes back to work. We won't get we'll get movies during 2024, obviously, but I have a feeling 2025 will be bombarded with everything. Well, like, what was that after the pandemic ended, 2021, 2022? We just got bombarded with movies like every week.
Good.
I have a feeling that, I have a feeling the same thing's going to happen. Several movies back on track. The new Superman movie, July 2025. The Alien TV show, Mortal Kombat 2, TV Wednesday season 2. There's a ton of them. But back to Marvel movies. As of now, the only Marvel movie coming out in 2024 will be Deadpool 3.
That'll be the only one I'll ever watch.
Yeah. Hopefully that is the only one. Like, don't do any more. Just leave it at that.
That'll do well.
It looks like it switched places with Captain America 4. That got pushed way back, sometime in 2025. Like way back. I'm wondering if that I have a feeling that might be due to rewrites, because I'm wondering if they got Chris Evans to come back.
Maybe.
Because that really got pushed back. Also, among other things, after the strike ended, we got a ton of movie trailers. Most notably, in my opinion, was the new trailer for the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie, which I am very excited to see.
Oh, man.
And there's a ton of trailers. The Garfield trailer, the list goes on and on and on. And there's a ton of movie. Yeah, I'm sorry about it. I probably should have mentioned Garfield.
I don't get, like, I just saw this the other day, and they said Chris Pratt is doing him. So that he just did Super Mario, and now he's doing Garfield. And why? Like, didn't we learn anything from Bill Murray?
They never learn. It's weird.
It's like it's like Godzilla. They keep making films about Godzilla and Garfield, and I don't know if does anybody like them? I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the minority here. I don't know. It has to make money if they're still making the movies, right? I don't know. If I'm watching some Godzilla shit, I want to see the old school shit where the guys in the suit walking around, smashing shit. I don't want the CGI bullshit.
Garfield. I never liked Garfield in general. I was more of a Heathcliff guy.
I mean, I like cats and I like lasagna, so you would think I would love Garfield, but I hate Mondays.
Not so much. And with video game movies, they've really turned the corner because, again, we'll be talking about that tonight. Video game turned into a movie. Obviously, with the success of Super Mario Brothers earlier this year, made
Over $1
billion, whatever it was worldwide.
As
expected, Legend of Zelda movie is on the way and has been officially greenlit. The strangest thing about that is, y'all know Machine Gun Kelly?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was quoted as saying, "If I don't play Link, we have a problem."
Well, we got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a problem. I hope he's joking, but knowing that fucking guy,
Elijah Wood.
I don't know.
Is he too old?
I mean, not with today's tech.
Who would be a good Link? I don't know. I can't think of anybody offhand.
Not Machine Gun Kelly. I really don't think anybody. It is supposed to be a live action movie, so I don't think it's going to go cheap, and I highly doubt they're going to spend money to have Machine Gun Kelly play the title role.
I don't think he'd beat that much money anyway.
Yeah, I could see Elijah Wood. I don't know.
I mean, is it wrong just because he played a Hobbit, so you can just kind of picture him being like, I don't know, like I always figured Link is like a guy of smaller stature.
You're too into the elf realm.
I am.
In other news, this is interesting. Did you guys know there was supposed to be a new Looney Tunes movie, a live action Wile E. Coyote movie? Well, there was, and it stars, and I'm not kidding, John Cena.
John Cena!
You can't see this movie.
Well, this movie hasn't been announced. This movie has been completed.
This movie's going to make a bunch of money.
Filming, it's in the can, post-production, everything. It was waiting to be released, and Warner Brothers pulled the plug in attempts to Batgirl, if you will, this film. And after a lot of backlash, they made a U-turn on it and decided not to do the tax write-off gimmick, and they are currently looking for God damn it, people to buy the movie. Oh shit, that reminds me.
How much are they asking?
I do have to redeem myself with one thing. Chris Sarandon.
I nailed it.
Sarandon.
What happened to Chris Sarandon?
He died.
What about Chris Steak?
He's still kicking it.
That's
been the steakhouse.
I've lost sleep all week over that, so I just had to redeem myself with that. Moving on. Cobra Kai season 6 has recently cast C.S. Lee. C.S. Lee, you might remember, was in Dexter. Masuka from Dexter has been cast in Cobra Kai season 6. So
no relation to Bruce Lee
that we know of. Probably not. Taika Waititi, who you might remember that made the Thor movies, the fucking Ragnarok and that piece of garbage that turned me off from Marvel forever, Thor Love and Thunder, is no longer involved in the franchise. Thank God.
Good. He's a dick.
Nefertiti, huh?
And finally, did anybody even know the TV show Young Sheldon was still on?
I knew it was still on. I never watched it.
Watch it? Yeah, I was going to say, does anybody watch it? Well,
apparently not. They're canceling it.
Yeah. After season 7 seasons that show was on, and I don't know of one person that watches it. I'm sure it come on like right before AEW Dynamite every week. Okay, that's probably what kept it on.
No, I mean there's a built-in audience there, you know, for the people that loved what was it? What was that movie or TV show? It's based on Young Sheldon.
Big Bang.
It's a spin-off. Big Bang Theory. Yeah, the Gang Bang Theory. there's a huge, that was like one of the biggest shows on TV, and so you got a built-in audience there that probably enjoys it. You know, it's kind of like Better Call Saul. You know, Breaking Bad is obviously Better Call Saul is a good show, but Breaking Bad's obviously the better TV show, and you had the spinoff with Better Call Saul, and it's like, you know, the Breaking Bad fans watched it just because they were fans of the show. So there was probably a lot of people that watched Young Sheldon just because they were fans of Big Bang Theory. So
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Never seen it. Well, that's it for the news. There's a lot more. Like I said, after the strike ended, there's a ton of you'll have to look it up. There's a ton of movies back on track. They're out working again, so that's good. More power to them.
Back to work.
And also, if you didn't check it out, the Terrifier 3 trailer dropped as well.
Looks saucy.
Oh, it's going to be a red Christmas.
It really is.
When's the release date for that? You guys know?
October 25th, I think.
Oh, bummer.
I mean,
shout out Damian Leone.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He's keeping
Shout
it
out.
alive. He's keeping it
it real.
Keeping it
Shout
alive.
out David Howard Thornton.
Apparently, like, he's losing backing because of how violent the beginning was.
Yeah, I saw that too. Like, he had a bunch of different studios that were interested in doing it, and then they saw that or read the first scene. They were like, "No,
Yeah,
we can't do."
Yeah, don't even worry about it. I'm sure if
He'll get picked up.
oh yeah, he'll
Quick.
get picked up. He'll get
For sure. Hey, Damien, you need money? Give me a call. All right.
Yeah, that's what
I'm in.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, dude. Just if you're really that low, if you're really that strapped, dude, just do a crowdfunding.
Dude. Oh, it would get funded in 10
no
seconds.
time.
2 seconds.
Yeah, no time. I'm sure he's not worried about
He'd get funded the same way fucking New York or San Diego Comic-Con sells out.
it. Yeah.
That quick.
Yeah, I'm sure he's
Ready
not
to
worried
go.
about it. Give us a call, brother. We got you. Oh, hold on.
The nasty.
T3.
Terminator 3.
I thought that movie sucked.
Oh, Terrifier 3. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's coming out around next Halloween. I'd say that's more than likely going to be our Halloween special next year.
I would say.
I miss Halloween. I miss Halloween already. Makes me sad.
I mean, we could do Halloween every month if we wanted to.
I would love to.
This is our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
We answer to no one. God damn it.
It's all gravy, Chucksters.
Oh, you are here. You are here.
You are here.
You are here, brother. You'll always be here. You'll always be a clerk. But as punishment, I'm making you do inventory when you get back.
Oh, man. He's going to be disappeared in the back room for hours.
All right. So that concludes the news. Moving on, let's get on to our main event, which is Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. It took a long time to, finally get made, finally get off the ground. I know they talked about doing this movie for
years
and years. And unfortunately, that's when Willy's Wonderland kind of swooped in a little bit. And when did that come out? 2021, I believe. But that's okay. I feel like these are two fairly different movies. And I'm all right with that. Don't know a whole lot about the game or about the lore. That might have helped with my viewing experience of this film because, sometimes when video game turns into a movie, the fans get pissed off because why wasn't this in it? Why wasn't that in it?
We've been through that.
Yes, we've been through that many times. And video game movies are video games turned to movies rather have really turned the corner in recent years. I mean, like I said earlier, we've come a long way since the Double Dragon movie, my friends.
Oh, classic.
Long way.
Classic.
But the game was created by a gentleman named Scott Cawthon. It was first released. God damn, man. Way back in 2014. Directed by a young lady named Emma Tammy. Sorry if I butchered that name. I'm probably going to butcher a lot of names tonight. I'm in a weird mood.
you're butchering regular words. So I mean,
know.
fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it.
The butcher, the
I don't have like a speech impediment or nothing. It's just the fact this is the only time I talk to people once a week.
I got to get the papers. The papers.
Gotta get the papers.
We don't sell me or rent very many capes here.
We haven't had a customer in over 20 years, so I don't know what to tell you.
Davey 2 times.
But screenplay by Scott Cawthon was really involved in the making of this film, as he had a hand in writing the screenplay along with a gentleman named Chris Lee Hill, Tyler McIntyre, and also the director Emma Tammy had a hand in it as well. So a lot of people wrote the screenplay, and it was also produced by Scott and Mr. Jason Blum from Blumhouse. Is it Blum or Bloom?
Bum.
Does anybody care? I don't know. But yes, I did neglect to mention that this is in fact another Blumhouse movie. In my opinion, one of the better ones. I mean, Halloween Ends. But
you're not really giving us a
the
lot
bar,
to go off here.
The bar's low.
The bar.
On a budget of $20 million, which is I kind of thought it would have been more than that.
Peanuts.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And as of this recording, it has made $127 million domestically. So
Yeah.
that's very.
I think over 250 million worldwide, at least, and growing, which is very impressive because, you know, with it releasing in theaters and on Peacock at the same time, you would think that it would take a hit, being, you know, that people could stream it right out the gate.
Yeah,
So,
normally it does. Normally, films do take a bit of a hit. And it's that, or the studio doesn't have any faith in the movie. Sorry to bring up Halloween Ends again, but I think that's kind of what happened there a little bit too. Our stars are Mr. Josh Hutcherson. I'm done. I quit.
He's fired from words.
And Mr. Matthew Lillard, who, in my opinion, was probably the best part of this movie. I'm turning the corner on him as well. I'm really turning to a Matthew Lillard fan, kind of like I did with Nick Cage. He's getting to be one of my favorites. I loved him in this movie. I think he was the best part.
Even though he was only in it for like 10 minutes.
Everything. Right. Like he only has maybe 15, 20 minutes of screen time total.
Mm-hmm. It steals the show. But I've tried to talk enough. Like to hear your guys' opinion on this little film.
It's it's hard to gauge, because I was thinking about this earlier, and it's like, if you go into it not really knowing the game that much, I feel like you're not going to enjoy it as much as probably the hardcore fans. The hardcore fans, you know, this franchise is huge. You know, it started back in 2014. They have like 9 games, like core games. They have spin-off games. They have a whole anthology of books and everything that go along with this. So the lore is very deep. And if you don't know anything about it, going into this, you might not, you kind of like, what's going on here? I don't really understand. And to the hardcore fans, Scott Cawthon, this is his baby, and he has been with it every step of the way. I know he wanted to stay true to the games and everything like it as much as possible. So it's littered with Easter eggs and various things that our younger audience would probably pick up on. But stuff as old fogies, we probably have no clue. I remember I watched some other videos about it. There's like different cameos from YouTube guys that were popular back when FNAF was taking off, and they had like YouTube streams and stuff like that where they would do gameplay and all sorts of stuff. So they got cameos in the film, and I couldn't pick them out of a lineup if you put them in front of me. I have no, if the guy walked in the door right now, I wouldn't know who he is. So to us, it's like who, but to the fans, they probably got big pops in the theater whenever they saw him. So, it's a completely a different demo, you know, than what we're used to. You know, we've been covering a lot of stuff from the 80s and 90s. Now, you know, we're finally covering something modern, and it's different. So we're gonna have a different viewpoint. So to our younger viewers out there, you can say, "What the fuck, you old motherfuckers! You don't know what the hell you're talking about. This is a good movie." But it was different. I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay.
I didn't think it was terrible, but I don't know. Like, I think it was just a bad time too for it to come. I mean, obviously not because the fucking numbers or whatever, but I mean, for me, it was a bad time. Like, because I mean, Willy's Wonderland just came out 2 years prior, and that movie was fucking amazing. I don't know what everybody else thinks about it, but I love that shit. So I figure this would be really good too. But there was just a lot of fucking story that I really didn't care about. Like, I just felt like there was a lot more filler and not enough going on with what was happening in the restaurant. Like, I get they have to tell some backstory for us old fucks that have no idea kind of what's going on. But because I know they're supposed to be, I think, making 3 of these.
Yeah,
from what I was looking at. And then so I mean, hopefully this one definitely kind of explains the shit, but it just seemed like there was a lot of unnecessary footage. Like, I mean, with Willy's Wonderland, you were in the fucking joint the whole time pretty much, and he was just fucking shit up and dancing and playing pinball.
Yeah, you almost expected them to go right into the pizza shop and just like start going to war with these animatronic monsters or whatever. And
that's why I didn't mind it though, because it didn't do that.
Right.
At the same time, because then it would have been almost identical to Willy's Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still really wouldn't have any idea what the background is, even though, like, in this one, from the shit I watched on YouTube about the game, it seemed like it was a little bit different.
It is. It's a different kind of timeline, I guess you would say, where there's a lot of stuff that is similar to what goes on in the game, and then there's some new stuff. In this film, we're introduced to Matt Lillard's character, who's playing a career counselor, Steve Raglan. And then we come to find out later, obviously, he's William Afton, who is the creator of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. If you go and, you know, I've taken a crash course in Five Nights at Freddy's this week, and it's been a lot to kind of take in. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to remember or whatever. But from what I understood in the games, William Afton was, you know, one of the main. He was the co-founder of Fred Fazbear's Diner. There was a diner at first, and him and another guy named Henry Emily created that. And based off of that, they had this business and it was doing well and everything like that. William Afton had a wife that died in giving birth to their youngest son. He had 2 sons and a daughter. And a lot of people, I think, were theorizing because one of his sons was named Michael. So a lot of people were thinking, because Josh Hutcherson's character is named Mike, that was end up going to be William Afton's son. But that's not the case in the film. He had a son, Mike, and a younger son, Norman. And the one incident that ended up leading up to, or it was called the Bite of 83, I believe. And what it was the older son, is the animatronics in Jad's room right now? I heard him moving around. But yeah, the older son would kind of terrorize the younger brother. And he'd pick on him because, you know, the younger brother would hate the animatronics. He was scared of them, and his older brother would kind of pick on him and mess with him and do all these jump scares and everything to kind of terrorize him. And it ultimately culminated with a birthday party for Norman there at the diner, where his brother and his friends started picking on him at his birthday party. And they picked him up and took him over to the Freddy animatronic. And they were like, "Oh, here's your present. You know, give Freddy a big kiss." or whatever, and they put Norman up to Freddy's mouth, and Freddy's mouth malfunctions and ends up killing the kid. So in the lore, William Afton's son ends up dying there. So his wife died in labor, and then his youngest son dies, and that kind of sets him into this spiral of madness where he starts to lose it. And his older son Mike ends up going to prison for like 15 years for involuntary manslaughter.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
They really changed the story.
Yeah, but I feel like that's going to come into play later on, because there's, when we were watching this, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of questions. It's one of those films where I felt like there was more questions than answers. And, it's tough. You've got, like I said, you've got your built-in core audience that are going to watch it no matter what. But if you want the casual viewer to really enjoy it, they got to understand at least a basic idea of what's going on. It's like, if you go back to the Star Wars films in the beginning, people didn't know anything about no Star Wars. So, and there's like a whole universe you got to basically introduce to these people. So, you have all your core characters, and George Lucas did a great job of introducing all these characters and this whole world, and it made people want to come back for more. And in this film, I feel like, they introduce this whole world of characters and everything that's going on, but it becomes so difficult to understand what's going on that I feel like a lot of casual viewers, once the second film comes out, are just going to be like, no, I'm not interested, because it just didn't make you say, ooh, what's going to happen next? It's kind of like, what the hell just happened? If you, like I said, if you're not a big fan of the games and you don't understand the canon and the lore, it's easy to write this film off. And I know a lot of people have. If you take a look at the reviews, especially the critics' reviews, they just get to bury this film. But the audience score is 87% over on Rotten Tomatoes. So there is a lot of people that really enjoy this film. And it's because I feel like, they're the core audience that are the hardcore fans, and Cawthon's dedication to trying to keep it as close to the story as possible. As far as, the characters and everything like that, obviously you're not going to do it exactly like that, because then everybody knows what's going to come. So they're switching it up a little bit. Like, Mike isn't William Afton's son. We'll probably, in this next film, we're probably going to learn a lot more. I feel like there's going to be a lot more introduced, but like I said, for a casual viewer, I think a lot of people are just going to write this off and be like, nah, pass, because it doesn't draw you in as much as other films where, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. With like all that background stuff, it almost, like, I don't know, it just made me lose focus of what I was trying to watch, because it was like they just had too much going on.
Yeah, it feels like a setup for future, because Blumhouse loves to do trilogies anymore, sure. and this one just feels like it's a setup for the future films. But in case we didn't mention, of course, there's going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie,
yeah,
applied.
Just saying. But yeah, I just anytime you go into a movie and you come out with more questions than answers, I feel like it negatively affects the perspective.
Yeah, and the core audience, I feel like I'm sure knew before even going in who the Yellow Rabbit, who the killer, whatever was. But for us casual viewers, it was so predictable, because there's only a couple characters. The line is like it's obvious who it was. It wasn't like a big shocker when he took the mask or whatever off.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. I was like, to bring in a big name like Matthew Lillard and not have him play a big, like, you're just gonna have him be a 2-bit career counselor that set Mike up with a job. No, he's gonna be playing a part down the line, So it was kind of a giveaway.
Yeah,
Him playing a bad guy is always a good spot too.
but again, I love Matthew Lillard. I'm glad he was. I'm glad he was in this movie.
I've been a fan of his for years,
mhm.
way back to like SLC Punk and fucking Hackers and shit. Like he's always been one I like to watch his movies.
And Scream, of course. But speaking of Scream, like it's the same, in my opinion, it's the same mistake the last couple Scream movies have made, in that they have a well-known actor in there. And as soon as you see that well-known actor, you're like, that's the killer. That's at least one of the killers.
Yeah.
Like in Scream, I believe it was 5 when Randy Quaid's son, what's his first name?
Shoot.
That was in The Boys.
Yeah.
But anyway, as soon as he came on screen in that first scene, I was like, that's the killer.
Yeah.
So, long story short, in my opinion, it was way too predictable, and it would have been nice to make a little more of a whodunit for people that weren't fans or didn't know anything about the franchise or the lore. That's all. Not.
What's up, cousin?
As a true crime fan, I thought it was a good movie for beginners in that genre. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the movie. Like,
I feel like I just feel like it falls into that video game film pit of despair where I don't know. There's so many video game movies that just fall short, and it's like every time I see one, I'm like, you could have done better. And I don't know what it is. Everybody just seems to make the same mistakes, I don't know. With this one, there's going, like I said, I kind of took a crash course in FNAF this week, and reading into the canon and the lore of it, I was like, this is way more interesting than the film was at all. Where I'm learning about the kids and how his son gets killed, and he ends up killing his partner's daughter, and then he becomes the serial killer, and then he ends up getting trapped in the Spring Bonnie suit. That's the yellow rabbit. It's called Spring Bonnie from the original Diner. And then he becomes Springtrap, and there's so much. I can just go on, and you're just gonna look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? But the fans know, and the story, it sounds more interesting on paper, or just kind of delving into it, as opposed to the film. Like the film, I just didn't. I don't know. It just missed the mark somehow. And I'm trying to think of what it is, but it's just, I don't know if they just go off on these tangents where they're focusing on other stuff, like, Mike's dreams and everything like that, as opposed to kind of building other characters, developing those characters more so. I don't know.
Right. They could have easily said more about how the kids and shit got in those bodies, because apparently their bodies are actually still in these fucking machines. So that place has to stink.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. But they should have focused more on that, instead of all you had to do was say, yeah, my brother was abducted whenever I was this old. We never found the guy. And eventually you're going to put 2 and 2 together and realize fucking Matthew Lillard's a sick fuck. Well, his character. And then they didn't have to do that. But I was talking to Dave about it, and I was like, I'm just glad he didn't go to the even farther fucked up thing and have his son be one of the dolls, and then one of them try to kill his dad, then he stops him and fights him or something. I was waiting for it to go that kind of way, and I was really glad it didn't, because I would have just been come the fuck on, because that shit happens all the time anymore.
Right.
But I'm just glad they didn't do that. So I mean, they really could have fucked it up, and made it worse.
And again, forgive me because I'm not familiar with the lore, but I wasn't real clear on the connection that his sister Abby had.
That was another thing.
Them. Was it the psychic connection? Did they just target her? If they targeted her, then why? Is it just because it's his sister?
Join us, Michael.
I kind of didn't understand.
Yeah, and Abby isn't even part of the lore. Like I said, William Afton has a daughter, but I think her name's Elizabeth. or something like that. But yeah, like the Mike Schmidt character is, you know, there's no Abby, there's no they're switching it up a little bit for these films, and I think they're going in a direction kind of where, you know, we're gonna find out that Mike's dad was William Afton's partner in the beginning whenever they started the franchise. And that's why, because, you know, you watch the film and you're like, okay, so Mike keeps having these dreams about how his brother got abducted in Nebraska, and they don't actually give the setting for the film per se, like outright. But after watching some videos, I was able to, you know, people picked up on little things like whenever he gets served the papers from the aunt, the custody papers, I guess down at the bottom, if you like zoomed in real close, you could see it was state of Minnesota. And they picked up on the police car had a plates that had GFPD or whatever, and they found out that it ended up being Grand Forks, Minnesota, or something like that, where the film is taking place. But they don't ever say that outright. So he's in Minnesota, and Afton's in Minnesota, and the abduction took place in Nebraska years ago. So you're sitting there trying to figure out, like, how does this even work out? Because this guy that's the career counselor, who, you know, as soon as he meets Mike, you know, he kind of writes him off as a jerk off that can't hold a job. But then he looks at the sheet and he sees the name, and he's like, oh,
yeah.
He recognizes the name, and his whole demeanor changes.
Yeah.
So,
you want some coffee?
Yeah. So now, you know, once you realize that William Afton is Steve Raglan, you're like, okay, what's he doing in Minnesota, where Mike lives? But somehow he's connected to Mike because he kidnapped his younger brother years ago and killed him in a different state. Like, there's too many.
How did they all end up in the same?
Right. And I feel like we're going to find out in the next one that Mike's dad was partners with William Afton.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I realize they're probably setting up for future films, but I don't like it when they leave that much open.
Yeah, like it's like I said, you know, if you're a casual viewer, you watch this and you're like, I don't get it. So you're immediately turned off and you don't want to come back to it, as opposed to other films where the writing is a little bit more in depth, and they kind of suck you in to where you're like, ooh, I want to see what happens in the next one. You know, it's okay to leave some questions out there, but like I said, when there's more questions than answers, a lot of times you'll just turn people off. You know, the same thing happened with the TV show Lost for me. You know, they stretched that series out for so long, and every time they just added more and more questions, like, oh, well, you know, what's this mysterious black stuff, and who's this guy and who's that guy? And there was so many different mysteries and stuff, you know, questions that people had. And then at the end, they just tried to wrap it up in a little neat bow, and none of it really made sense. And people were just like, what the hell is this? So, you know, it's another one of those films where I don't know if they just got hung up because of the PG-13 rating.
I was just gonna say
they couldn't make it darker, or what. But I don't know. You know, obviously Scott Cawthon isn't a writer. You know, he's a video game designer, and so maybe, you know, he's just, you know, not a screenplay guy.
I'm sure that might have had something to do with selling the rights over. Like, I'll give you this, but I got to be a part of it, at least oversee it.
Yeah, I mean, with the opening scene, like, I was waiting for something to be like way more violent than what it was.
Yeah,
I mean, it starts out with a dude in the chair getting that fucking suit drilled into his face.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna say the same thing Mike did about, because Blumhouse loves those PG-13. They love to keep it PG-13.
Well, you got to. I mean, especially, you know, with this coming out in 2014, your audience is younger. So if you want them to come see it, you gotta keep that rating low. Yeah. But at the same time, like we said, you're restrained by what you can do. So, you know, looking at it as just a horror movie, if you take out, you know, the whole, you know, video game stuff and look at it as a horror movie, I feel like it doesn't hit as well either. You know, I was going into it kind of I knew a little bit about FNAF because my ex's son was big into it, and I got him all kinds of toys and stuff for Christmas. So I knew some of the characters just by name, but I didn't know the stories at all. So going into it, I didn't know a whole lot. And I knew there, like in the game, there's a lot of jump scares. It was, that was the big thing that, you're holding a flashlight, and you're in this, you're this security guard going through this pizzeria late one night, and all this stuff's going on, and then out of nowhere, it's just like jump scares. All these creatures, these animatronics, and all this stuff happens. So I was kind of expecting more of that. You remember that old, I don't know, it's not like a meme video, but it was like a viral video years ago where it was this video of a car like driving through just some nice area or whatever, and your friends would say, "Hey, watch the car like closely." Because you'll be able to see a ghost. It's crazy because it was like I think it was supposed to be made to look like a commercial, and they're like, watch the car because you can see a ghost in this commercial, and you're like watching it and you're like trying to see this ghost, and all of a sudden the Linda Blair pops up and scares the shit out of you. That's the kind of stuff I was expecting. I was like, okay, I don't know much about the video game, but it's a horror movie, so there's going to be jump scares, and that's what I'm waiting for. And it had stuff, but it didn't have anything where I'm just like, whoa, holy shit. It didn't startle me. It was very, very basic. So as a horror film, it didn't have the scares I was hoping for. And, because of PG-13, you can't really do too much gore or anything like that. I think probably the most graphic scene was probably when the babysitter ends up getting eaten in half by the animatronic. I think they did that to kind of mimic the like I said, the story of the bite of '83 when his son gets bitten by the animatronic. But I thought that was probably the coolest as far as horror type stuff. We only see it as a shadow on the wall, but what's going on. Oh, you see the lower half of the body drop or whatever. But that's about as graphic as it got per se. So. I mean, I don't know. I was hoping for more with this. I've really wanted to be interested and be sucked in, but it just didn't do the job on this one. Although I will give it props for the animatronics.
Yeah,
because, that's what I was going to say too.
We were talking about that too. They did look good.
I think this is the all-star of the whole show. Is that they brought in Jim Henson's Creature Shop. And those guys just knocked it out of the park, dude. Yeah. Those animatronics look amazing. And those are real animatronics. And that's the sad part about film this day is that, we have so much CGI and so much bullshit going on that you take this kind of stuff, these practical effects for granted. And, it's like people were just like write it off because they're like, oh, I'm so used to seeing the CGI and everything like that. But if you go and watch any kind of behind the scenes footage of this on YouTube, you'll see like these are actual animatronic robots. There were actors that jumped in the suits to do certain things when that the animatronics couldn't do, but for the most part, you got the heads, you got the Foxy character was completely animatronic because they couldn't do it any other way.
Which was my favorite one. I like
he was dope looking.
Yeah. And so Jim Henson's Creature Shop, man, they just killed it. I can't say enough good things about it. The animatronics, all those characters looked top notch. Artie Esposito was one of the guys. He did the Freddy stuff. All those guys over there, just I can't put them over enough. So that is definitely the high point of the film for me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier too. Whenever me and Dave were talking. And just like even just the way it was filmed and how dark, like the lighting and everything was perfect. Like the angles they got looked good. It's just the story fell flat.
Yeah.
There was just too much going on, in my opinion. And like you just didn't really care about anything. Like you got to the point where you started to feel like you had some like sympathy or like you cared about a character, and then they would go a different direction on you, then you just forget about it.
Yeah, Jeff, those characters looked amazing. I was really glad they weren't CGI. I went into it kind of assuming that they would be, because that's kind of how we've been trained anymore, because everything's CGI almost anymore.
Yeah.
But I was really happy with that. But Mike, you said you've seen some of this before. I thought the bear in particular took a different form. Maybe when the lights went out or something. I mean, I know their eyes went red in the movie, but I thought something like he got these mechanical teeth or something whenever the lights went out. Am I wrong about that?
No, well, there's a couple different Freddys, and it's hard to kind of gauge in the film because you see the regular Freddy that's brown like this, and then there's another one, the main little kid that interacts with Mike and Abby. He's playing the Golden Freddy, so that's a different version of Freddy. And if you go into the lore of this, there's all kinds of different versions. It's like I said with William Afton, he's playing they call it the Yellow Rabbit, but whenever it started out, he was in that suit as Spring Bonnie, and Henry Emily in the story, in the lore, was Fredbear. And so, and those those evolved into once the whole thing happened with his son, they closed down, and then a couple years later they reopened, and they eventually had Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and Henry Emily created those four: Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, and Freddy, for that pizzeria. And they were more advanced animatronics. And I believe there was a whole backstory where he wanted to create these animatronics with facial recognition, because going back to what I said, when the same in the story, when William Afton's son dies that day at the birthday party, later on that night, he becomes so enraged that he ends up killing his partner, Henry Emily's daughter, in the parking lot at night. And they never figure out who killed her till later on. But there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on between then. But once they reopen a few years later, and they put these new advanced animatronics in, Henry Emily is he's like kind of like the robotics engineer guy, and he wants to put in facial recognition in the animatronics so that it can scan databases and find criminals and anything, and like that. So that was a big thing for him. And it's just, I could go on and on, and it's just so much more. I mean, if you really want to dive into it, it's a deep dive. It's a super deep dive. But there's a lot more. And like I said, the stories, if you learn more about the whole background, is a lot more interesting than the film. And I wish, after seeing the film and then going in and reading everything, I'm like, oh, man, I feel like they could have done a lot more, and I would have enjoyed.
Why didn't they do this?
It's kind of how I was too. Like we talked last night, like about watching some of the videos on the game, and I mean, there wasn't a whole. I mean, there was a lot of different videos about everything, but like some of those videos were like 8-9 hours long, like 3 hours long, and there was like a few that were like 10 to 15 minutes or whatever. But majority of the videos that like talked about the whole lore were like hours.
It almost would have did better as a TV series, I wonder.
I see. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Like something kind of like they did with Twisted Metal or something like that.
Yeah, when you have I mean, I don't know. There's ways you could do it. Like I said, with Star Wars, George Lucas created a whole fucking universe. So, we could sit here and rattle off all kinds of different characters from Star Wars, Dave. You know that.
Oh yeah. I mean, like with 7, 8, 9. I mean, they had that whole expanded universe. I mean, there's probably thousands and thousands of books.
Yeah,
and they
ignored
all of them.
It's the same way with this. Maybe it's just we're too old and we never, like we didn't play this game. It's a different era, and maybe we just missed the boat. But like I said, if you try to look at it from a different perspective, as just going in and saying, hey, this is a horror movie, I'll just take it at face value. I don't know a lot about what's going on. You're not going to enjoy it as much, and I think that's what's happening right now with us, where we're just like, oh,
Or has the history of video game movies repeated itself?
Or, a little bit of that as well.
I mean,
we grew up on some shit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. This is a million times better than some video game movies from the past. I mean, the 1993 Super Mario Brothers.
Oof.
Woo! Big swing and big miss.
And those were some big actors too.
Yeah. I mean, they really.
Zombo was killing it back then. Fucking Dennis Hopper, like what the fuck?
Yeah, you had fucking Dennis Hopper as the villain.
How did you
fuck that up?
And Robert Patrick.
Oh, and Robert Patrick in the Double Dragon movie.
Bob Hopkins or John Hopkins. What?
Bob. That was
Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins.
Hoskins.
Yeah, perfect Mario.
Not Johnny Hopkins. But no, Bob Hoskins was killing it back then. You know,
right? Yeah, fan they all were. He just came out fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit, man. That they were like, yeah, let's throw him into Super Mario's, make him Mario. We'll make. Oh, we only made 38 million worldwide. Oops.
That's what I was telling Dave. I was thinking of Roger Rabbit whenever fucking Matthew Lillard's giving that speech about him killing his brother. Like I just like immediately thought of Christopher Lloyd. Like, do you remember me, Eddie?
Yeah,
I killed your brother.
And it's funny because I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like sitting there thinking, there's all these fans of the film franchise, and they're sitting here and they're loving all these little Easter eggs that I have no fucking clue. They're loving these cameos that I have no clue. Like the cab driver.
Easter eggs were shit eggs.
Yeah, the cab driver was some YouTube guy. The guy at the diner was a YouTube guy. If you look on the wall, like all the employees of Freddy Fazbear's are different YouTubers that were big into FNAF. So all this stuff that people are loving, I have no clue what's going on. For me, and I think you'll pick up on this too. The thing that popped me, being this old fogey, was whenever you had Matthew Lillard have the big reveal as William Afton, and he has the knife and he's standing there and he takes
does the thing. Yeah,
he does the Scream.
I caught that too.
The knife wipe from Scream. I was like, oh shit, that is the Scream reference.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I caught that one too. See, that's where we're at.
I was watching the end of it whenever we came back earlier because I watched it like like a week ago, so I had to rewatch it, and I really wasn't looking forward to rewatching it, but I did. I'm still here. But I mean, I think I liked it a little bit better the second time. The first time, I think I was just really comparing it too much to Willie's.
It's one of those ones I wanted to like. Right. It's a big franchise, and I was kind of, like I said, I had very limited knowledge of it beforehand, and I was like, okay, I'll go into this with the open mind, and maybe I'll come out being a big fan of this franchise. And it's like it just didn't do the job for me. But prepping for this episode, I've learned a lot more about it. So like I said, all the stuff I've read and the YouTube videos that I've watched that explain more that's going on made me more interested. So I'm kind of curious to see where they go with the next two films. But like I said, there was a lot to be desired, from this one. And, I don't know. I'm guessing, from what I've seen in reviews and stuff from fans, a lot of fans enjoyed it, and I get it. It might not be a great film per se if you're looking at it strictly as a movie, but if you're a fan, you're probably just happy to see anything, on screen, because like we said, this was in development for years. So, right. For it to actually come out and you get to see the animatronics as cool as they are, a lot of people are probably pretty satisfied with this film. But I missed the mark for the old timers like us. It's just a different.
Like I said, visually it looked amazing, but
it looked
story wise, it just fell flat.
And I'm wondering if all these practical effects kind of contributed to a low budget. I don't know how much they're spending on CGI, but I what was here? Let me look real quick. What was the budget for the Super Mario movie? Because that was all CGI.
I haven't watched that in years.
Oh, not the '93 one. The new one that just came out.
The new one.
Oh,
and I think giving films a low budget sometimes is good. I think it opens the door for creativity where you have to, work around these problems. And 9 times out of 10, it looks better.
If you have a movie based on animatronics, then you don't really do animatronics. That's just going to be a red flag from the jump for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even Willy's Wonderland had real animatronics in it.
Well, I just looked. The Super Mario Brothers movie from this year. The budget was $100 million.
Oh wow,
100 million. That's
Well, look at the big
5x.
chance on that.
5x, and I feel like, maybe this is Hollywood needs to take a look at this and say, hey, maybe we need to change our way of thinking. Go back to the practical
ways
stuff.
to do this.
That's been a part of the problem. Movies costing 300, 400, 400 some million dollars to make, and plus with all the marketing, I mean, you end up having to make 500 million, if not more, just to break even.
I remember watching an interview with Rob Zombie whenever he was saying how they use CG blood for Devil's Rejects and stuff. He was kind of pissed off about it because he was like, I can get a better effect for half the money.
Yeah.
For nothing. I mean, you can make fake blood for next to nothing.
I do it all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Hollywood, take note. $20 million budget. They're already over 250 mil worldwide.
I can make a gallon of fake blood for like $7.
Huge return. You can do the 2 other films and tank and still profit. Because this franchise, if Blumhouse, props to them for this, because I would have jumped if they would have came to me and said, hey, we want to make this movie for $20 million. If I had $20 million, I'd be like, boom, take it. Let's do it, because that's a guaranteed moneymaker.
I mean, the blood was still kind of cheesy though, especially whenever she threw the knife and it stuck in chick. That blood just out. I didn't like it.
And what's the other video game movie, or the other video game that turned into a show that was a big hit?
Turned into a show or turned into a movie?
Turned into a show. It was about zombies.
Walking Dead?
No.
That was a comedy.
Last of Us. Was that
Last of Us?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that Wicker. What the fuck?
Yes, Last of Us.
The Wicker people.
What's the shit with fucking Henry Cavill?
Witcher. That's
Witcher.
it. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That was a good show too. But I heard he didn't like it because it wasn't the same as the video game.
Yeah, and that's what pissed them off, because they wanted to do their own thing. It's like
he was a huge fan of the game.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And you've had all kinds of, like Chuck just mentioned. I think
Last of Us.
Yeah, and then you have Resident Evil, you have the Tomb Raiders, you have Silent Hills. There's so many different films that have been based off video games, and I don't know, do any of them do the game justice, in your opinion?
No.
I mean, even Mortal Kombat.
The newest one I didn't think was terrible, except for they added that fucking character nobody ever heard of.
Wait, you like the newer Mortal Kombat?
I didn't think it was terrible.
They had way too much going on, and it was unnecessary.
It was
now the '95 Mortal Kombat I thought was a lot better. I thought that was probably the best video game movie we ever got.
After Annihilation, the new Mortal Kombat movie.
We don't talk about Mortal Kombat Annihilation in the video store. I burned all the copies of that years ago.
I think the 2021 one's even worse, dude. That thing was dog shit. Me and Gary were watching that, and I was like, this is painful to watch because it's so bad.
I just liked all the fight scenes. I thought they looked all right, but story wise, it was another kind of shitty movie. For me, it was just all about the action and that shit.
95.
Yeah, the 95 Mortal Kombat. It could have been better.
Lambert, man.
Yeah,
but
it was fun. I can sit and watch it and be entertained by it.
That
you know what I
mean?
mean?
Only one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the Mortal Kombat, the soundtrack, that song. Oh my gosh, that I listened to that a million times back in the '95. I couldn't stop playing that song.
I had that as Dave's ringtone for the longest time.
I was so pumped too. Really? I remember.
Great.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for the original Mortal Kombat, and you know what got me so fucking hyped about it was whenever you saw, I think it was Sub-Zero run up the wall and flip over Liu Kang whenever they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy shit, because he does that run up the wall and then completely flips over him. I was like, that's fucking amazing. So I was so hyped.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for the new Resident Evil movie.
I know Resident Evil did a TV show that was bad.
You got Street Fighter, the Street Fighter movie.
I could watch the Street Fighter movie and be entertained.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
And Raul Julia as Bison.
For me, that was just a
Bison.
Tuesday.
He was great, man. I could sit and watch that movie and be perfectly entertained just by those two.
But yeah, I mean, these video game films have a history of falling by the wayside a little bit. I mean, there's some that have done really well over the years, but like we said earlier, a lot of people are falling out of favor with these comic book films, and they're looking for something new. And whenever you find these video game audiences that are kind of built in, like I said, $20 million, guaranteed moneymaker no matter what, because you got that core fan base that are going to come out and watch it regardless. So,
I did forget to mention the Sonic the Hedgehog films.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
They've done very well as well. So
yeah, I'm pulling up the numbers right here. So Five Nights at Freddy's already over 251 million. Super Mario Brothers movie, 1.3 billion already over.
Insane.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 did over 400 million. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 only did 319 million. So the sequel did even better. Yeah, Hollywood's looking for new stuff, and they're turning to video games. They've put down the comic books, and they're saying, "Hey, let's do this video game shit." And
didn't they just make a Tetris movie?
Oh, yeah, that's coming out. It's different though. I think it's more of a kind of a documentary about how the game came to be.
Biopic, yeah. So yeah, I feel like we're going to see a lot more video game films here in the next couple of years.
There's supposed to be. I'm surprised they haven't made a Metal Gear movie yet, but I understand that's coming. There was another one as well. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of it, but we've had garbage. Do you remember the Wing Commander movie with Freddie Prinze Jr. that came out a long time ago?
Yep.
Again, Double Dragon, the Mario Brothers. I think after that 93 Mario Brothers came out, that totally turned Nintendo off. They were like, never again.
No.
Never again. And
because it only did 38 million worldwide,
I was just thinking Roblox. I was just thinking that. I don't know if, because you don't want to wait too long, I don't think, with the video game movies. Oh, Minecraft. Minecraft's another one that's supposed to be coming out.
If you,
a lot of times, kids move on.
All right, Dave, if you could make a movie based on a video game, which one would you pick? It hasn't been made.
Oh, other than Mortal Kombat. I wonder what a Killer Instinct movie would be like. I'm partial to fighting games, but I wonder what a Killer Instinct movie would be like. I never really played Tekken. I couldn't get into Tekken. So didn't they already do something? I wonder if there was there an anime or something with Tekken? I'm not sure.
There was something.
Maybe.
But I was always a fan of the Killer Instinct. I wonder what a movie like that would be. Oh, that's a good question. What else did I pump a lot of quarters in back in the day?
It doesn't even have to be quarter, a coin op game, anything from Nintendo,
I know Castlevania got that anime series on Netflix years ago, but I always thought that would be a cool movie. Ninja Gaiden.
Okay. I was literally thinking about Castlevania earlier today. That I for some reason I love the music from Castlevania, Simon's Quest.
Oh,
Paperboy.
Bam, Paperboy.
Make a Paperboy.
Points for you.
Make a Paperboy a horror movie. That'd be interesting.
They get like a post-apocalyptic, like fucking. What's that movie with Kevin Costner? The postman.
Waterworld.
Not that one. No,
Zing.
Yeah, Chuck likes Killer Instinct. Yeah, buddy. That would be badass. No,
but there's a lot to choose
Battletoads.
from.
Oh, Battletoads.
Mega Man.
Paperboy.
Oh, Mega Man would be fun.
Of course. Yeah, Mega Man, of course.
Metroid.
Why haven't they made a Metroid movie yet? I'll never understand. That's another one.
That's another big franchise. What
Um,
else?
You know, I like you said, I would expect to see more and more. You know, Mario Brothers. Of course, if Zelda does well, especially being live action, I'm sure we'll see a lot more.
Man, there's just so many different ones you could go with. But yeah, it makes you think, and there's so much that
Me too,
Hollywood
buddy.
can pull
I
from.
love that game. And you know, there's so many characters in the Killer Instinct. You got Spinal, Saberwolf. You got the fucking the Fulgore. I was a fan. There's a lot of cool characters you could put in that movie, but anyway.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
that's a good question, though. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton you could do.
The
it's fun
Maniac
to think
Mansion.
about.
Maniac Mansion.
But I mean, they picked a good one here with Five Nights at Freddy's.
Mhm.
The premise, the premise straight up is interesting for a horror movie. Lethal Enforcer.
I love that game too.
Dirty Harry. But
Oh,
yeah,
why did I cannot believe I didn't say Primal Rage.
Primal Rage. There you go. We'll
Shame
get
on
the dinosaurs out and fighting. Manic Mansion.
Yeah, Maniac Man. Yeah, man, that was good stuff.
But yeah, the premise of this film is solid on paper. I mean, you know, you go back and you think, yeah, yeah, all these. If there's any young people watching this, they're like, "What the fuck are these guys talking about?"
Go back to 16.
But you think about, you know, what pops into my mind whenever I think about this film, and the premise is like Chuck E. Cheese. You know, the old animatronics from Chuck E. Cheese, where, you know, they'd be dancing and everything like that. And then the idea of, you know, imagine being a security guard in a Chuck E. Cheese late at night, and these animatronics are just chilling. They probably look creepy as fuck. And then all of a sudden, you know, you add into the fact, oh, what if there's a serial killer that's putting children's bodies into these animatronics, their dead bodies in there, and their souls are inhabiting the animatronics and taking them over. You know, so it's an interesting premise on paper. It just, I don't know, it didn't play out as well. You know, this was kind of a goof because, you know, Scott Cawthon was making more, I think he did like religious type video games there for a while before this.
Mhm.
And he had done a game called Chipper and Sons Lumber Company. And and he got mad hate for it. They said that the beaver in the game looked like some crazy animatronic. And a lot of the critics were saying how it was unintentionally terrifying. So he took that you know, being a smart guy, he took that negativity and turned it into a positive. And he decided, you know what? Okay, you know, let's go with that. Let's go with animatronics. Let's go with, you know, something intentionally terrifying. And he created Five Nights at Freddy's. So. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. If you were, you know, it would mess with your head if you worked at one of these places. You know, you go back the whole history of it. You know, do you remember ever, guys, remember Showbiz Pizza Place?
No.
Yeah. See, we didn't have one of those around. That was the original place. You know, before there was Showbiz Pizza Place, and then Chuck E. Cheese kind of came into the picture shortly after that. Showbiz Pizza Place.
Chuck do
you?
I think that was in the, like, kind of the Midwest areas and stuff like that. Because I remember in our area we didn't. I think there was. Where was the closest Chuck E. Cheese, Dave? You remember?
Hagerstown.
Yeah, it was around there.
It was like, at least
It
an
was
hour
closer
away.
to the city. Yeah.
So I don't know. I never really got to go there that much. You know, so
Yeah,
I wasn't.
I think I went there one time, and it brought me back because when Abby is hiding in the ball pit, that's what I used to do.
See, I don't think I've ever actually been into a Chuck E. Cheese until I was probably in my 20s.
Well, that's the thing, Chuck E. Cheese kind of took off into the early 90s. So, at our age, we're probably like, nah, ball pits and animatronics were kind of a little bit, too young
We
for
got the
us.
Dream Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the Dream Machine, man. We gaming. We want some Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
we
yeah.
want,
Get a roll of quarters and be gone for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, and there's a whole backstory to that because I was reading about that too. So Showbiz Pizza Place came into play. Originally,
Wow.
okay,
Boy.
so you got the co-founder of Atari, Nolan Bushnell, and he was like he created Pong. All right, so then he decided to come up with a family restaurant with computer programmed animatronics. So he wanted to make this restaurant with all these animatronics and everything like that. So Atari opened up the first Chuck E. Cheese back in 1977. And then he partnered up with this guy, Robert Brock, who was, basically he was a big into Holiday Inn. I don't know if he was the founder but he was one of the big wigs that did Holiday Inn hotels. He had a whole chain of hotels and everything like that. So he partnered up with this guy and they were going to just do a whole franchise deal. And this Brock guy ended up fucking him over because he did a deal. He signed a franchising agreement with Pizza Time Theater, that was what Chuck E. Cheese was called. And they were worried about this company, Creative Engineering, who were going to come in and design more advanced animatronics. So this Brock guy ends up nullifying his deal with Bushnell and going with that other company, that CEI, that Creative Engineering company. And they formed a partnership and he started doing Showbiz Pizza Place. So Showbiz Pizza Place kind of took off because they had the better animatronics, and Chuck E. Cheese ended up filing for bankruptcy and around like 84, I think. So he fucked over Bushnell and created Showbiz Pizza Place, and Showbiz Pizza Place ended up buying out Chuck E. Cheese, and it eventually just turned into Chuck E. Cheese. But Showbiz Pizza Place, it was the same premise. They had all kinds of different animatronics. Let me see here. I got some pictures. So for Showbiz Pizza Place, they had a band that would play. It was called the Rock-afire Explosion, and these were the characters in that. And you could see, like, down in the bottom right corner, like that wolf-looking guy. I feel like that was kind of the inspiration for Foxy. The guy up in the top left, that you could easily see that being Freddy. These were the characters at Showbiz. And then once they bought out Chuck E. Cheese and just
Banana Split guy.
The Banana Split guy. I don't know. I don't think so. So those were the original characters at Showbiz Pizza Place. But then once they merged with Chuck E. Cheese, then you had the characters that you see nowadays. And you got Chuck E. Cheese and Henny, I think her name is. That's definitely the basis for Chica.
Chica, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe this guy, what's his name? Mr. Munch. The purple guy is Mr. Munch. I could see that being Bonnie. And of course, you could base Freddy off the bear from the Rock-afire, or you could say Chucky, just because they're the leaders of the band. So those are the models, if you will, for this whole franchise. You could easily see it from the characters and everything. Scott Cawthon took these characters and kind of created his own world, modified them and created his own world, and now it's a whole universe. So definitely interesting, the whole idea.
Wow.
So there you go.
Yeah, my only memories were the ball pit, and the food wasn't good.
I think I feel like I only went to Chuck E. Cheese like once or twice too, and I feel like the animatronics weren't working. So I was like, this place sucks.
Yeah, they didn't do them when we were there. Yeah.
Like something every time I went there, I was in my 20s, and me and Tom just bought like 10 bags of cotton candy and dip.
Like maybe we went at the same time, Dave. I don't know.
No, we might have ran into each other.
Yeah, but yeah. So
Flashback.
You can see that this is the model for it. Kids, the younger kids, they're like, oh, this is their thing, but this was our shit back in the 80s and 90s. Chuck E. Cheese, man. And I literally just saw before we came on that they announced all the animatronics are getting pulled from the Chuck E. Cheeses. They're taking out all the animatronics in all the Chuck E. Cheeses except one. They're going to leave a band of anim. Oh, you're here. You're here. What are you talking about?
You're here.
They're leaving one band of animatronics in their Los Angeles location, but all the other locations they're pulling out all them animatronics. So
didn't they used to have like a ball pit and shit at the fucking Pizza Hut way back when we were kids?
I don't know about Pizza Hut.
Down on Industrial Boulevard.
I just went to the one on the Vale. So
do you remember this, Dave? Mr. Treats?
Mr. Treats, no.
Oh, nobody ever remembers that. It's something local, so nobody here on the show will get it. But in our area, it was like the bootleg, like super bootleg Chuck E. Cheese, where it had a ball pit and it had a slide and it had video games, but it didn't have no animatronics or anything like that. And I always thought it was dope because I'd go in there and get ice cream and then just chill at the ball pit or whatever, when I was a young ass kid. But hardly anybody ever remembers Mr. Treats.
I do remember when McDonald's had a playground.
Oh yeah,
Can't believe they got rid of that.
That's another thing. And the birthday parties we'd have at McDonald's, man.
Yeah,
remember that shit? Oh man, you got us all nostalgia. It's nostalgia night.
I don't remember that.
Did you never had a birthday party at McDonald's?
Really?
No, I mean the ball pit at Dairy Queen originally.
Huh? No, I did not know that.
Ball pits were all the rage, man.
There's ball pits everywhere.
No doubt.
Why did I miss
having a ball?
I remember the only ball pit I ever went to was the one at Chuck E. Cheese.
I guess all the other places didn't have any balls. But yeah, man. Oh, McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's used to have that merry-go-round and the slide and all this stuff, man. It was.
I remember the dumbass games we'd play at the birthday parties. I remember the one where you'd have to drop the straw into the cup. You remember that? No? All right.
No.
Okay.
Remember that? Nope. All right, moving on.
Well, as long as you don't have video of them hitting on you, I think we're in the But yeah, this is definitely the basis for this franchise. I don't know how much Chuck E. Cheese and showbiz affected Scott Cawthon and inspired him, but you can definitely see the fingerprints all over this franchise.
Well, I would feel like a lot. I mean, we do have Dave & Buster's now, but it's not the same.
No, that's just video games.
Yeah, it's always those like car games like Cruising USA and stuff like that.
Hated those fucking games.
Yeah, I never liked them neither. I remember being freaked out when I was
snuck under the curtain.
What curtain?
What?
I guess a Chuck E. Cheese.
I mean tablecloth?
No, like the curtain, like the stage where the animatronics are.
Yeah,
and there's like a curtain behind them. Because you probably see the workings and the mechanics of it all back there. I bet they're gonna. I wonder if they're gonna start selling off some of these animatronics from all these Chuck E. Cheeses.
That's what I was gonna say. It'd be dope to buy the shit out of them.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Have them
chill
in the back.
Give yourself a heart attack one day, walking to the bathroom to take a piss when you wake up. Open up your fucking bedroom door and a fucking big ass mouse is standing there.
We only had like one or two games at our Walmart. One of them was Cruising USA, I think, at one time. I think the other one was one of those the thing with the crane. And yes, Mike's right.
Always. So yeah, what do you think? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, actually, Chuck, you're right. I think that hunting game was there. I think you're right. I think I do remember seeing that one. I didn't hate it. It was just,
Of course there is.
yeah.
Kind of.
You're right. There probably is.
Kind of indifferent, right? Is that how you feel?
Yeah. I just, it's like, again, I feel like it's a setup for future films, but I thought that was a little too much. You know, I have too many questions that it leaves me kind of the performances were good. Josh Hutcherson, I think, did a fine job. Again, with Matthew Lillard, it's always good to see him, especially when he acts crazy. That's when he's at his best.
Oh yeah, we got to shout out Mary Stuart Masterson as the evil aunt.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that was another thing I forgot to mention. I couldn't wait to see her get what she had coming to her.
But did she? It's another one of those questions. You see her legs. You see her legs after Golden Freddy.
Didn't love it, didn't hate it. I'm the same way. Had fun with it and enjoyed watching it with the kid. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, especially Chuck has told us about his son Dax. Loving he's a huge fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, so I'm sure he had a blast watching this. So whenever you see your kid enjoying something like this, it's hard to hate on it. But wait, Chuck, are you saying? Yeah. Are you saying are you saying you enjoyed this Blumhouse film? Ooh. Are you a fan? Are you a fan of a Blumhouse film, Chuck?
That's the thing. Whenever I turned it on, like I forgot that they did this movie. So as soon as their name popped up in the beginning, I was like, "Here we go again."
Yeah, he's watched it over.
Waiting to be disappointed.
But see, again, that was me when the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie came out. I went to the theaters to see it 3 times, and I got it on video and watched it tons of times.
I'm sure there's an old VHS from our camcorder where we're idiots. There's 14-year-old us on tape somewhere, some VHS where we're acting like we're fucking ninjas in Mortal Kombat. We can kick Oh, I'm Sub-Zero. I'm Scorpion. Look at me, and I'm a fucking idiot. That's what I am.
Yeah, and it's the same way. I remember that scene in the movie when Sub-Zero and Scorpion first came through that door. The fucking theater went nuts.
Oh shit!
So yeah, I get it. I understand how fans, that were our age at the time, felt about this movie. Yeah, get hype. I got hype for Ghostbusters. And that's it. Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, it's one of, like I said, I'm the same way. I'm in the middle where I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I wanted more from it. I was kind of hoping for more. And I can't put over Jim Henson and his crew. Well, not Jim Henson, obviously he's dead, but Jim Henson's Creature Shop and their crew for the job they did with the animatronics, the practical effects.
I treasure
amazing.
Yeah, treasure.
Awesome to see Matthew Lillard in another franchise, kind of revitalizing a shot in the arm for his career.
Yeah, for sure.
After Scooby-Doo, ended, the Scream franchises, obviously we've talked about the theories of him coming back for those films. Maybe not, who knows? But he signed on. He said he signed on for 3 films. So we're going to get more Matthew Lillard as William Afton and more to the story. And, I'm curious to see where it goes. Hopefully,
I almost didn't post that one. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Mary Stuart Masterson, Fried Green Tomatoes, Benny and June. I haven't seen her in a long time. I saw her on the screen. I was like, damn, I completely forgot about her.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, who is that? So I had to fucking look it up.
Yeah.
That was another one of those things, like we could nitpick through this whole film and all this shit that doesn't make sense. The aunt, the aunt is like some Cruella de Vil type character who's trying to take Abby away from Mike. And Mike says, "Oh, she just wants the money from the state." But I'm like, the way they portray her character, she has money, so
Right.
why does she care about the little bit of money she's going to get from the state for this girl? I don't know. So that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But whatever. And whenever she dies, we only see her legs there after the Golden Freddy shows up to take Abby back to the pizzeria. Is she dead?
She's sleeping.
Yeah.
We don't know.
But here's the thing. Okay, so after everything happens, Mike and Abby go back to the house. They're eating breakfast at the end of the film, like nothing's going on. There's no mention of like, oh, there's the dead aunt in our living room. Maybe she's still alive. Maybe she just got knocked out and then got up and left. Because you would think that
they would find her laying there.
Yeah.
At least one of them would be like, oh, why is there a dead aunt in our house? And the police would show up. There's like so much. Oh, we didn't talk about the freaking security guard, Vanessa, played by Elizabeth Lale.
Yes.
That was another one.
She had a lot of info.
Yeah, that was like, okay, obviously she knows what's going on. She's in on it somehow. I didn't think she was the one like killing people or whatever, but she knows what's going on for sure.
Yeah, and whenever she comes out and reveals that's her dad, like you're not really surprised.
Yeah,
like not at all.
And then you're sitting there thinking like, well, she's been kind of working with her dad this whole time. She's known her dad's like a child killer. Yeah. She knows about the security guards that come there. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing. Okay, why does he keep hiring security guards to watch this place? Like, I think somebody online was trying to say that he was just bringing victims in because he was killing them. Because you see the opening scene where the old security guard gets put in that little saw contraption and it gets put into the suit or killed or whatever. But William Afton's a child killer. Why is he worried about killing these adult security guards? I don't know. It's just, I don't know. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Dax called it too.
So, like we said, so many different questions. A lot of stuff just doesn't make sense. I mean, maybe the other films will make sense of it, but they're just too much.
I hope so. Like, I'm going to give the next one a shot. If it falls flat, I'm done. But
yeah.
Like I said, this is more of an origin story, and it just tried to give you way too much information at one time, so you kind of didn't know what to fucking pick up and what to feel bad for, or who to feel sympathy for. You just kind of wanted to see people die in this fucking pizzeria. That's all I wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, Dave said, what's the connection with the little girl? Like, okay, these kids have been possessing these animatronics for years. Why all of a sudden are they connecting with this girl? Is she like some kind of Sixth Sense type character? Like, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
And she communicates with them, I guess through osmosis and drawing pictures. I feel like we could have at least explained that a little bit more.
Abby, we had a brother, right?
Just a little bit.
You've rated him, right? Penny raid?
So it should have probably been, what, like 2 whenever the fucking kid got abducted?
Yeah, there was a big age difference there, but I like that. I like that slide.
Like, even if she was born yet?
Break these headphones. I don't know.
The trouble I've seen. And as the babysitter's name was Max. Was that her name? The one that got bit in half.
Yeah.
Mad Max.
She was another one that.
Mad Max.
See you eventually.
Yeah.
That's reassuring.
Yeah. So for us, it was okay, predictable. Unanswered questions, etc. But again, I didn't hate the movie. I'm not gonna bash this movie.
It's kind of like how it's got like the same feeling that we all pretty much had for Evil Dead Rise.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had enough shit to
Except
keep
Chuck.
me in there.
You just triggered Chuck. Wait for it.
Like it had enough to keep you in there, like
He's
keep you in
typing
there,
now,
but
I
at the same
guarantee it.
time, you just like I found myself texting a lot whenever I was fucking watching this movie or just fucking around on my phone because it just didn't pull me in. Like I said, I mean, just all the information just kind of led me astray, and I got lost in the woods and didn't really give a fuck after that.
Yeah, it was a low body count, and I feel like that was the only purpose of the Max the babysitter, her boyfriend, and those two other guys. I think that was their only purpose in the movie.
Her brother and those guys, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, for the fans of the franchise, I think they probably are, satisfied for the most part. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews, so it's hard to say. Especially with younger audience, a lot of people leaving reviews are going to be older people, because they're the ones that are able to, they get online and write reviews. Kids, probably don't write as many.
You're going to be able to tell who left reviews for.
Well, it's like I don't know if it was Chuck or Melissa how they said it's kind of like bringing in the younger audience into the horror genre, kind of like showing them what's up. So I get it. For that, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you got to keep the tradition moving on.
For sure.
Yep, a new generation. That's why
more weirdos like us.
That's why we were talking about it. It's a different, like we said, we've been covering a lot of the 80s and 90s stuff that we grew up with, that we love. This is something different. This is the latest hit horror film. Regardless of whether you think it's a great film or not, you can't deny that it has been a success financially. And you're going to get
the numbers definitely prove it.
You're going to get more of it. If you're curious about the franchise and don't really know enough about it, maybe look into some of the books, stuff like that. I think if you read more, you would probably enjoy this a lot more. But overall, it's in the middle. It's worth a watch. Definitely.
Yeah,
if you're a fan of the video games, you're going to probably love it, but props to Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Good to see Matthew Lillard in a new franchise. And I guess we'll see what happens next.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I totally agree.
I definitely did love the animatronics on this shit. Like I can't give that enough praise.
Yeah. I was very happy with that. And what was the one? Foxy? Yeah, I think he was my favorite. I think he looked cool.
Yeah, he just looked beat up. He had fucking holes in his fur, like you could see like the metal inside of him.
The hook.
Yeah. You get Chica. We didn't talk about Cupcake. Chica's
Cupcake.
Cupcake.
Yeah, the Cupcake.
That's what I was telling Dave. I love the Cupcake more than any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and Balloon Boy. You can't. That's another one that a lot of people aren't going to catch. Balloon Boy was a character from the films, and he pops up. He's kind of like a calling card for Afton, because whenever he pops up, something happens along those lines, like some crazy shit. So like whenever Mike starts his first night at the pizzeria, he opens that locker, and then all of a sudden you get that little jump scare. It's not like a big jump scare like in the video games, but you see Balloon Boy sitting there and he turns him around, and then later on he's on the shelf, and then there's a post-credit scene where the cab. I don't know if did you see the post-credit scene?
Yeah,
where,
I called that shit.
Yeah, the cab driver's sitting there, and he's trying to sleep, and then the car door opens up, and he looks over, and he gets a little jump scare from Balloon Boy again. So a lot of those characters, the Ella, the girl animatronic that's sitting there that they're trying to put Abby inside of. There's so much. There's just so much you can go over. We've already talked an hour and 40 minutes about this, and we could talk for days about it because there's just so much.
We even had the conversation of, is there enough to talk about?
Oh, there is. Yeah, there is more than enough.
Yeah. Especially after watching all them fucking videos on YouTube, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. So if you've never played the video games and anything like that,
no,
don't maybe not watch this. Maybe do a little background, do a little deep dive first, so you can familiarize yourself with it. Because I don't think you're going to enjoy it as much. You're going to get the same reaction that we did. If you're an old fogey that doesn't know anything about these video games, you'll go in and you'll be like, "What the fuck was this?" And I don't want you to feel like that. I want you to enjoy it like the fans of the film. So, there you go.
Security breach.
Security breach.
Yeah, all kinds
Yeah, a
of
lot of
different
like the
things.
gameplay I saw just seemed like you were sitting in an office the whole time just checking fucking video screens.
You're watching the video screens for shit moving around, everything like that.
But the jump scares in that game looked pretty intense, especially if you're playing that shit in the dark, fucking just all fucking zoned in.
Oh,
Like, I could definitely see that shit kind of freaking you out. Kind of like the same feeling I had back in the day playing the original Silent Hill game.
And that's another thing I wanted. A little bit more tension, a little bit more eeriness to this place. I didn't get enough of that. I wanted more the horror aspect, and I didn't get enough. You know, I'm not gonna.
And that falls under the rating category again, though.
I don't think I'm gonna give it shit. Yeah, for the gore and everything like that, because like I said, they're handcuffed with the PG-13. So, you know, yeah, I don't know.
It's like that scene too, whenever he's fucking crawling through the ducts, and they're up on the stage, fucking like jamming out or whatever. And then he fucking pushes that fucking gate open and it clangs really loud, but nobody fucking hears it. Like he's not by any means being fucking quiet. Like he just fucking pushes this thing open and smacks off the ground real hard. And then he fucking sneaks up behind him and electrocutes him.
Or when there's so much stuff we can nitpick the whole thing. I said when Abby goes up to the to Bonnie and strings the guitar and gets electrocuted. I was thinking of Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah.
This kid gets electrocuted and just like, oh, no big deal. I'll just brush it off and I'll be fine. Let's go make a fort.
Yeah,
right.
It was a good soundtrack.
Oh,
I did like
that.
the music,
Yeah,
by the way.
that's the other thing. I almost forgot that. Fucking, that's the one thing I can give this film credit for is having the Romantics fucking that song. What is it? Secrets That You Keep, or Talking in Your Sleep.
When you're talking in your sleep. Yeah.
That song has been in my head all fucking week. I'll be just playing Romantics over and over again because that song's stuck in my head. So thanks a lot.
Well, the original game took place, what, in 84, I think it said it was?
The original game? Oh, shit. Early, well, before that, because whenever his son dies, it's 83. And then...
See, I thought they like did like the backstory of the 83 thing, but then whenever you started playing, it was 84.
Maybe. I don't know. It jumps all around because there's like ones that are happening at a certain time, and then they go back and they go back and forth. Like the film is in like 2000, so there's all kinds of different timelines and different shit that's going on. So I hear the secrets that you keep.
When you're slipping on my meat. I mean, what?
And that ties in. That was a good song because the slurping on your meat song. No, because obviously Mike is fucking trying to make himself sleep and dream and figure out what happened to his brother. So I see a little tie in there. That's cute.
Yeah.
Just play cool 80s music. I'll fucking love it.
Right.
That's all right. Any other final thoughts for this film?
That's like American Horror Story 1984. I love that shit. That's a whole other story. American Horror Story. They have really good concepts.
I haven't watched that season yet.
They have really good concepts for seasons, and they start off really good, and then it just goes sideways most of the time.
They still lost me after Freak Show.
Freak Show. You didn't like Freak Show?
I wasn't a big fan. I liked the clown dude, but that was about it.
Michael Chiklis.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. It's good to see,
Gotta love Michael Chiklis.
This getting passed down generation to generation, kind of having their own lore.
Shit, what was that rich kid's name in there? Oh man, I can't remember. But he was the best part of it, I thought. Shit, I'm gonna have to look that up. Keep talking.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk.
No
more talky.
Yeah, because like our Mount Rushmores had Freddy, Jason, etc. The future Mount Rushmores, I'm sure will have Art the Clown, and who knows, maybe Freddy Fazbear.
Chuck says final thoughts for him.
Worth a watch, a fun watch.
And Freak Show sucked after episode 3.
I still okay. So the actor is Finn Whitrock. He played Dandy Mott. Remember the like little rich kid that was fucking all fucked up?
Yeah.
I thought he was the best part of that season.
Yeah, I agree with Chuck. Worth a watch, fun watch.
It's not bad. If you're looking for something totally gory and graphic, it's not the one, but it's still a fun movie.
They've already watched it. That was the thing. We always talk about these
season one neither. That's where I stopped.
It's funny how we do these episodes and then we like talk about if we recommend the film or not. But it's like if you have to have seen the film to watch this podcast, otherwise you're not necessarily. But I mean that fucking ruins it.
Yeah,
because we're just talking about everything.
Season 2 of American Horror Story is my favorite.
The
fucking Asylum.
Which season was Freak Show?
5.
Okay. My bad. I stopped after season 1.
I liked Hotel.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
Anyway, that's
no reason. It's like the Chucky show. I just haven't sat down and watched it.
We still haven't done any TV shows on here. We're gonna have to get on that. We're all gonna have to take a month off and watch the season of the series of The Shield and start talking some Michael Chicklets.
Oh, I'd love to do a Shield episode.
Well, it's about time to close up the pizzeria, don't you think, boys? It's time to eat our pizza and kill
pizza.
some kids.
Oh, yeah. What? Well, before we depart, as usual, it is time for our clip of the week. Roll it. We show a random clip from a random movie or TV show, and we see what happens. Let's see if we get canceled this week.
I don't have all this backed up, so I hope not. Footage.
Hey, leave her alone! Hey, du hast mir die Füße verscheucht!
Huh.
I don't think that was a real police station. I'm not even sure what the fuck. What the fuck?
Erie, Indiana.
Erie, Indiana was good.
Where do you find this shit?
Goddamn internet.
It's the internet's fault.
Goddamn internet.
All right. Well, that about does it for us for this evening. Our Five Nights at Freddy's episode. We hope you enjoyed. Thank you, as always, for joining us. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel at Video Store Clerks. Does anybody have anything going on in their lives?
I do not.
We know that Chuck Nancy does.
We need to get you something, Chad, to promote.
Promote
your silky little deer hat you got going on there.
Here. Just zoom in on there and
like and subscribe.
Take a picture of that.
And our boy Chuck Nasty.
He's got a few things going on.
Yeah, buddy. He's an author now.
He's got books out.
Recognize.
There's one. It's upside down.
Thirsty. You can also purchase Sludge.
The Dick Worms.
And his latest House of Flesh, ladies and gentlemen. You can purchase all these fine items on Amazon.
Just for $30.
Go over to Amazon right now. Go to Amazon right now. Type in Chuck Nasty. Get them. You get the physical copy. You can get the digital copy, ebook, whatever you want. All right, go check it out. If you like that extreme horror, it's extreme. So fucking check that out. You can check out Laser Trading. Check out Laser Trading Company. That's my shit. Over on eBay, we got all kinds of different collectibles and stuff like that. Holiday season coming up. If you want to pick up something, you might find something cool there. You might not. But thanks anyway. Check it over. Laser Trading Company on YouTube as well. All kinds of different shit that I do. Whatever. Come check us out, man. We love you. Thanks for stopping by the store. Thanks for supporting us. You guys are the shit.
Hell yeah. And don't forget Nasty's band, Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat. You can find them everywhere. They're on YouTube as well. You can also find them on Spotify. Pretty much anywhere you can find music. And hey, if you're into metal, sludge, hell, even if you're a rock fan, go give them a click. Go give them a check out. God damn, I can't talk tonight. What the hell is wrong with me? Ah!
They also do our intro. So if you like our intro, there you go. Jam out.
Jam out to that shit, brother. Good stuff. Good stuff. So thank you again for joining us. Next week, check us out. It's Turkey Day. It's our Turkey Day special. Well,
the annual.
Not quite
the
Turkey
annual.
Day, but a few days before Turkey Day. It's our
annual
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
special, ladies and
special.
gentlemen.
Yes.
Turkey Day.
And we're
gonna
very
be
excited for that.
We're gonna be eating the giblets. We're gonna have the turkey.
Oh,
I'm gonna have the mashed potatoes. That's
Oh,
for
yeah.
fucking sure.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That gravy's going to be hot and wet, buddy. It's going to be that hot and wet brown gravy for daddy. Oh, yeah. Join us then. We'll be here Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then. We'll see you next Tuesday. Give me daddy that gravy.